Yo, what is up, Ridge Runner Nation? Welcome back to another episode of Ridge Runner. We are live tonight. I had too many things going on here. We're just getting set up, but this is good. So we're getting started. I'm going to let John take over this intro.
Wow. What is up, Ridge Runner Nation? Welcome back to another episode of Voss Talks tonight. We're sitting down with Michael Owen, race director for Ohio's Backyard Ultra, coming up this weekend. So it's going to be a great show. I'm in the queue here, getting ready to get everyone on the show. If you need to get on the show, text that number on the top of the screen. I will get you a number to dial in. The way it works, it's a Zoom call. So it's a one button push dial. I'll send you the number, push it in, you get to go on. We'll bring you in and we'll talk about it. So that's how you get on the show tonight. How are we doing tonight, Wesley?
Well, I'm finally doing well. I heard myself in 17 different spaces right there in the intro, and I was literally having the worst time of my life. But I'm happy to be here to highlight all things Ohio's Backyard Ultra. Nick, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Just kind of counting down the days till I make my pilgrimage back to Ohio.
Pilgrimage. How long of a drive is that?
It's about 17 hours if you can make it straight through. I'm not one of those people. Stay safe out there, people. I'm going to take a nap in Missouri probably.
Oh, that's fair enough. But you can also listen to the Spotify playlist, Tunes of the Nation on your drive in.
We up to 17 hours now?
Not quite, but we can make it there just for you.
But Michael, how are you doing? And let's start things off with our first drink question tonight. I think you've got a good one.
Hey guys, I'm doing good. Happy to be back on the show. I feel like it's been probably maybe a full 12 months since I've been on any type of Ridge Runner show. But I'm excited for the show all night. So hopefully some people call in, talk shop. But I am drinking, actually, rare for me. This is a non-alcoholic Athletic Brewing Company hazy IPA.
Yeah, wow. Are we breaking news? New sponsor for Michael Owen?
I wish. Don't be surprised if you see it at some events this year. Not OBU, but some future events for SEOTR.
That's awesome.
I did see we have a new member of Ridge Runners Nation who recently picked up a Athletic Brewing sponsorship. So cheers to Holly Ann.
Oh, nice.
It's good stuff.
John, I saw you sipping away over there. What you got?
I'm drinking a Northwater Brewing Company beverage. This is a local beer here. Come on, focus. There we go. 6.8% IPA here from right up the street for me, and it's pretty tasty. Wesley, what about you? You drinking some beer or seltzer over there? What you got?
So Nick's actually been kind of on me recently about a little bit of alcohol consumption or whatnot. So I decided to keep it nice and casual tonight, keeping it very low key. So I decided to go with a White Claw in my custom koozie with a White Claw sticker on it too. So that's my choice tonight. Nice. Nick, what about you?
To be fair, that recommendation is only in the scope of an illness. Otherwise, you can do whatever you want. But I got a Four Noses Colorado beer here called 100 Giants. This is a West Coast double IPA, 8.3%.
Nice.
Awesome. Well, now that that's out of the way, it's a typical start to a Ridge Runner show. Like we said earlier in the intro, if you want to get on the show, we're going to start taking callers as soon as the first person dials in. John is ready to go on that. Before we kind of dive into that and kind of get this first person on the line, Michael, I think it might be a good idea to kind of maybe provide a little bit of a history recap for those that may not be up to speed with Ohio's Backyard Ultra, maybe the inception of the idea and how it became what it is today, because most people from the, that have been a part of the event, know what it is and where it is gone today, but maybe the backstory behind it hasn't been super publicized yet. So let's kind of start there.
Yeah, definitely. We're on our fourth year of OBU, Ohio's Backyard Ultra. So, I think it's starting to become more well-known, at least here in Southern Ohio and across, our region. But sort of as I break down on the runner's packet, I have a story kind of about what this event stands for, kind of what, motivated or, inspired the creation of it. And obviously, if you're not familiar with the Backyard Ultra format at all, it all originated with Laz Gary Cantrell, Laz Lake down in Tennessee. He created the format, 4.1667 miles every hour. But in 2018, he sort of put out a call kind of to the world for anybody to put on their own version of the Backyard Ultra. His was the first down in Tennessee, called the Big Dogs Backyard Ultra. It was gaining popularity. It kind of has this cult following, a kind of a niche within a niche sport. So when I saw him kind of making this public call for people or race directors to put on their own Backyard Ultra, I was like, okay, how does this fit in with, kind of what SEOTR does, with what my, personal race directing goals are. And so I started to get to work with putting together what now is Ohio's Backyard Ultra. And from the selection of the venue to all the little quirks of our own personal Backyard Ultra, it is what it is today, 4 years later, which, not to kind of like be biased, but I think it's one of the most competitive and noteworthy affiliate races in the Backyard Ultra, world, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, no doubt. I think, the results that have been put up there in recent years, even since year one, in year one, it was one of the most competitive Backyard Ultras. And of course, last year with the numbers that Harvey and Jennifer put up were absolutely ridiculous. And this year, I think it's going to go even further, which is awesome. So Cam, it looks like you've officially hopped on Voss Talks with us tonight. What's up, man?
Oh, nothing much, just getting bamboozled by a Subaru dealership here in Twin Falls, Idaho, as I was passing through. But that's okay. I don't know if we did what we were drinking, but I would like to share that I have this Golden Road Mango cart, and I think it's a sign that this did not get warm after being in my car for about 13 hours today. So hope everybody else is having as good a day as me. And yeah, that's what I'm up to now.
Cheers, Cam.
Well, we're pumped to have you on, Cam, to kind of dive into OBU. Obviously, you've been a part of it for multiple years now as well. So it's going to be fun to kind of highlight all things Ohio's Backyard Ultra. But Michael, you kind of talked about the race, where it's located before, and that was kind of something you were passionate about picking, finding a location that made sense, in terms of SEOTR scope, but also just a place that kind of cultivated community and kind of brings people together. And I think one of the reasons Ohio's Backyard Ultra is so successful in terms of the distances that are run, it takes a special environment to put up special results. And I think McChesney Ridge Athletic Club has done just that. Talk about your kind of love for the place and kind of when the first time you discovered it.
Yeah, totally right on, Wesley. I couldn't say it any better myself. The Backyard Ultra is unique because it's a set distance, but all the different Backyard Ultras throughout the world has their own personal venue, and they each have their own quirks or subtleties. But when I was looking for a venue, I wanted something that meant something to me, like a true Backyard Ultra, which could either be my own house or a place that kind of had a lot of significance, to my personal life. And so McChesney Ridge Athletic Club is where Ohio's Backyard Ultra is set, which is on my friend Reese Brown's property. In college, Reese and I got to know each other. He was a teammate of mine. Both ran cross country there at Shawnee State down in Portsmouth, which is just a 25 minute drive from McChesney Ridge. And my junior and senior year, I actually lived on Reese's property. And at the time, this was 2009, 2011 time period. And Reese actually had a cabin on an adjacent property to where the current McChesney Ridge is. And we lived in his cabin. We actually built a 300-meter oval track up in the woods. It was pretty cool. We put a lot of miles in on that trail. And then a couple years after I graduated and left, Reese acquired, I forget how many acres, but like 60 or 70 somewhere acres of land that is now part of his current or his former land. So this was land that we always visited when we lived there. We would go jump in the lake after a hot run, or we'd go do some hill repeats on the land. And it was just his neighbor's like vacation property. It wasn't, developed the way it is now. So when he bought this land and started developing it, he kind of made it into a perfect venue for lots of different types of events. So, running races. He's got disc golf. There's been some weddings on the property. He also rents out the lake house for weekend or week-long rentals. But what Reese has done really well that made it a great venue for the Backyard Ultra was he developed trails and basically was able to manage this land in a way that was able to bring in guests and parking and just be perfect venue for that kind of thing. And so that property means a lot to me just because it was a lot of formative years during my running career. It's a lot of trail experience there, and that original 300-meter trail that we built is now actually part of the Backyard Ultra course. And so kind of funny thinking 12, 13 years ago, some of the stuff that Reese and I was doing on that property is still making impacts today, and that's the stuff that we always dreamed about. So we had a Backyard Ultra in 2009 and 2010, and still today it's kind of the Backyard Ultra that we want to share with other people.
Yeah, absolutely. And I gotta say, that I haven't spoken to a real live human being for more than a minute in like almost 2 weeks. So that's where that whole situation just came from. But I do believe we have a caller on the line. Who's calling and what do you have for us?
AJ, are you there?
Looking forward to these calls.
Good evening, Ridge Runner Nation.
How's it going? Alex Jackson, Ohio's Backyard Ultra participant. What do you want to talk about tonight?
Oh, not much. Just wanted to check in with you guys, see how you're all doing. Definitely excited for this weekend. Looking forward to, seeing. I know Nick Voss will be there. Wesley, are you coming in?
I lied to everyone last year on the prediction video, and I'm keeping with my word this year that I'm not making a trip, unfortunately, to McChesney Ridge this year. But you can hold me to that on Saturday.
And I'm not in the apartment to scour for plane tickets that he just accidentally left lying around, so I can't help us out either.
Yeah, Cam, I think we're gonna have a Ridge Runners episode to hear about your trip out west right now.
Yeah, potentially, but I mean, what's the fun in that compared to running, loops around Reese's backyard? And I actually have a question for you, AJ. One of which is, without me there to perform in the most mediocre way possible, what's going to motivate you to go even further from the two performances that you've had at this race previously, where you absolutely smoked me, but you've got a lot more in the tank at this event, don't you think?
Well, it'll certainly be nice to have one fewer person, complaining and bringing down the mood on an event that should be a positive, good vibes party.
Got him.
I've got nothing. It's just I had a bad. I think I was good vibes the first year. I had a bad time the second time I did it. I'm not gonna lie. That's not Mo's fault. That's not Reese's fault. That's my fault. But yeah,
Alex, I'm totally flattered that we're going to be sharing a tent together. What went into that decision? And did you just you had good vibes from last year and just had to keep it going?
Yeah. Honestly, I didn't even know whose tent I was using last year until I think I texted you a couple weeks back. So good to have that coordinate out again, because I do not have my own pop-up tent like the ones that we use at OBU. So good to team up with a good friend like Nick Voss. It'll be good to share some time with you out on the trail. Hopefully you can hang around for more than, 10 or 12 hours like you normally do.
This Alex Jackson guy is just coming out here throwing body shots at everyone. This is awesome. You've hit 100 miles twice, 100 miles plus twice in this event now, Alex. What are you going to kind of do, or what advice do you give to someone who's going into it, maybe looking to hit that 100-mile mark for the first time?
Well, honestly, like, try not to think about the number too much. That's what I've been trying to tell myself since I first started running this event. Kind of what I've been trying to dial in with is just give yourself a chance, put yourself out there. And, if you keep getting up and getting out, onto the course and giving yourself the chance to get back, you'll probably surprise yourself. It's so often you see people struggling, 5, 6, 10, however many hours in, and then they go on for another 12 hours or another 20 hours after, being in a really low spot. So just from having observed that from other folks who have gone really far, it's like you just got to keep putting yourself out there and give yourself a chance to do well and surprise yourself. Easier said than done, but that's what you got to do.
Awesome. Michael, do you have any closing comments for Alex before race day?
Well, I think what he said there at the end was really poignant because, something that I've really urged the backyard ultra runners that come to OBU is to not look at any type of milestone number as being like something that could, limit themselves. The first year we had, I forget, like 14 runners make it to 100 miles, and then right at 100 miles, like 8 of them stopped. And I think it's because maybe for multiple reasons, but they kind of had this milestone in their head, and that sort of limited them, in my opinion, because there's no reason to stop at just 100 in this type of event. And so Alex, I think he's approaching it with the right mindset there, and I think it's a good word of advice to any runner, especially new backyard ultra runners, because 100 is no different than 104 and so on, and I think if you put a goal in terms of a mileage, it's just, mentally limiting yourself to not go beyond it potentially.
Yeah, no, I think that's great advice from Mr. Alex Jackson and Michael Owen, as usual. Alex, do you have any closing comments for us tonight?
The only thing I was scrolling Facebook earlier, and according to sources there, our George Themelis said he's, quote, not feeling as fast this year as he has in previous years. And I know myself and probably a few others out there have definitely counted on him for the classic George Themelis 55. So I'm just hoping that he'll be good for some of those come Saturday evening, or else I'll have to, actually look at my own watch and make sure I'm getting back in time if he's not able to do his thing.
I saw George 2 weeks ago, and I think he'll be all right. You don't have to be fast for this event, so, I don't think it's going to, yeah.
That's true. And I mean, I saw him last week and he was fine too at the Mo Marathon, and he's, cruising. So.
Yeah, he'll be good.
Don't give away too many secrets, Alex.
Before Alex gets out of here, I want to just, he's been kind of giving some jabs to each of you guys, but more odds than not, he's going to receive one of these, next week. So don't get too excited there, Alex.
I won't.
But there's always a chance. There's always a chance, AJ.
Correct.
Only one person won't receive one of those.
Yep.
Nick Voss.
I'll be happy to cook him a bunch of food on day 2, but the only thing I'm not sure of is there might be too many carbs.
I'm laughing at that shot. Somebody is. Just so you know, Nick. All right. Thank you for calling in, AJ. We were so stoked to see what you can do out there in Reese's backyard.
See you next week, Alex.
Awesome. Yeah,
All
it's
right.
cool to have Alex hop in, join us on the line. If you are, looking to hop in as well, text the number down below in the YouTube, and we'll get you on. Cam, I think you had something here.
Yeah, I do. So, Michael, you kind of mentioned, that the backyard, quote unquote, of McChesney Ridge has been this kind of transformative place for you. It's a place that you've spent a lot of time, and now going into year 4, for a lot of people, especially folks who have run this race maybe every year or a couple of years, it's been a transformative place for them as well. I mean, that's the place where I officially met Wesley Hart, and I think I like rubbed elbows with him at a couple races, but we never like shook hands, right? You know, so there's Ridge Runners trivia for everybody. But you know, how does it feel to have that like transition for you happen to, you know, this place is really important to me, to I've made this place, you know, by putting on this event here, important for so many other people?
Yeah, and I don't look at it as myself making this thing possible. You know, it's obviously it's a product of the community, and I'm just honored that every year it seems like there's a group of people that decide to come back, and that's my biggest source of pride with OBU. And I know, you know, speaking for Reese here, you know, he loves that community aspect on his property. It's kind of what he envisioned when he created McChesney Ridge as a place for people to come. But yeah, you're right, Cam. It's kind of a reunion. I think last year's show, we all sort of talked about, or at least you did, Cam, about how it's a family reunion in a sense. And I don't have the numbers, but there are people that have done it now going into their fourth year. So some of these people are people that we only see once a year, and it's like they're old friends. And that's kind of what we want this event to kind of symbolize. And that's kind of what a backyard ultra or a backyard is as well. It's like just getting together, having a picnic or having a cookout, except we're just doing it with a lot of miles, you know, tacked on for a few days. But the atmosphere is great. Yeah, there's new storylines that pop up every year, so that's kind of exciting. And you know, we all kind of have our local favorites or our fan favorites, or you know, different storylines that are created over one year to the next that we keep our eye on and so forth. But for the first timers, it's also something that I think they'll feel welcome to come into, to be part of that, you know, community and that close-knit family that we have down in the valley of McChesney Ridge.
Yeah, and one thing I'll kind of add on that is there's a lot of first timers in this field that are going to put up some real numbers. Like there's a lot of, you know, super serious ultra runners that, you know, have done pretty significant things that are, maybe this is their first backyard ultra. So it's going to be fun to kind of see them transition into this this side of the sport.
For sure. I'm excited for the new people. And, you know, we've had the opportunity to be designated as a silver ticket event under I guess it's called Laz's World Series Championship Backyard Series. I still don't know all the words there to Laz's setup, but OBU is designated as a silver ticket race, which means we get automatic entries from bronze ticket races. And so all the winners of those bronze ticket races are had a chance to register for OBU. And so we have some folks like that who might not have found us otherwise, but have put up some pretty big results, you know, from a competition standpoint. So it's kind of neat, kind of having that part of it as well.
Definitely, yeah. That format's always changing, I feel like, with Laz, and you know, he's always kind of tweaking it, which just makes it more interesting year after year for fans to follow as well as everyone else. So I think we do have our next person geared up in the waiting room, so let's get them on the line here. Who do we have joining us on the line, and where are you from?
Oh, this is Brian Pullen. I'm all the way from Worcester, Ohio.
Brian, good to hear from you.
How are you guys?
We're
Great.
doing well now that you're here.
Oh my God. Well, so I got to tell you guys, normally I save the Ridge Runner cast for my run. But with Michael Owen making his return to the Ridge Runners, I felt like I absolutely had to see this one in person. Michael, welcome back. God, this is great.
I appreciate that, Brian. You know, you've probably been on the show more than I have in the past year. But, you know, we're all here together now, and that's all that matters.
Well, you know, unlike Brian, Brian never left us.
I never left Ohio.
Now who's throwing the body shots? Man.
Raise your hand if you're from the East Coast. Oh, wait, there's nobody raising their hand except for me. I don't understand it.
You call Ohio the East Coast?
This guy.
I mean,
Hey guys, I have 0.5% of alcohol in here, so.
All right. So I promise that I have a ton to add to today's show. So here's where I'm at with it. I've done 2 backyard ultras, one being big, one being Michael's OBU. I can say unequivocally, Michael's race is 10 times better than Big Backyard Ultra. I don't want to offend anybody, but I almost feel like those folks at Big should be competing at a spot at OBU. That's kind of where I'm at with it. But every time that I go to a Backyard Ultra, I end up, I don't necessarily drop out because I'm tired or sore or fatigued. I drop because I'm just bored as hell. So this question is for Michael. Do you have anything in the works after, say, hour 24 and getting into the next day that might be a carrot to kind of keep people going, like maybe a cool outfit that you might put on after every move or something just to keep people excited and want to stay in this thing?
Oh, Brian, you're putting me on the spot here. I mean, I don't have anything planned. I think that's part of the suspense, though. I could say that I don't have anything planned, but people will be kind of on the edge of their seats in their tents, waiting to see if there's something planned. I think just welcoming people to the trail again after 24 hours is enough, right?
No.
My favorite thing that I've noticed is Michael's waning ability to blow the whistle as the hours go by. It's a steep drop off for sure, right around that 24-hour mark.
You know, I struggled in the first year, and I kind of nailed it in year 2. You know, like 2020, it got moved in November. I got all my whistles right. Last year, you know, I couldn't help it that freaking Harvey and Jen decided to go to 55 hours. I started getting off a little bit. You know, the 3-minute whistle turned into 2.5 minutes, and you know, Harvey made sure he let me know that I was off. And but I don't think I ever got the bell wrong, and that's kind of what my goal is for however many hours. You know, to not miss the bell.
Well, so I was thinking a lot about OBU because unfortunately I'm not going to be able to be there this year. My original plan was to be there. With my son's baseball schedule, it's absolutely chaos. So actually, Michael, you know, I was going to race somewhere else, going to try and sneak a race in. I'm actually going to be at a doubleheader on Friday, Saturday.
Bummer.
The whole time. So yeah, no, it's totally fine. But I was thinking about last year, and I had such good fond memories. You know, day one, there's so many people around, and the trail's unbelievably cool. Running through Athletes Village, you know, even at the halfway point, I've bragged about the 2-lap format and how great that is. But then at night, last year on night 1, we had those kids in the house along the route that would have a new song playing. Like they had a Rocky soundtrack, and they had like "Whoop, There It Is" on one lap. And so every time I would get ready to head back out into the frigid night air, I would just be so excited to figure out, you know, what song are they going to have playing, and you get to see them twice with the out and back. So that's kind of where my head went this year, is if you want people to get to, you know, 50, 60, 1,000 hours, I was thinking maybe if every loop you just had a new outfit. Like I think I bailed at hour 30 or something, but if I would have known that Michael was going to be wearing a pink tutu and some sort of funny tights at hour 31, I would have hung in there. And then hour 32 and 33, I'd probably still be there running loops if he would have been doing something fun like that.
All right, write that down. You know, I got given a cow outfit for the winter challenge, and I wore that around Athens, right uptown with all the students. So if anybody wants to bring me an outfit, you know, if it gets you 1 or 2 more hours, I will wear it proudly. But Brian, speaking of that road loop at night, you guys were also gifted like what, some Coors Light, or what kind of beer fell off the back of the 4-wheeler?
Yeah, no, so this was like a dream come true for me, but someone was ripping down this back road on a 4-wheeler, and a 30-pack of Busch Light bounced out and smashed on the road. And of the 30, so there was a handful of us licking the road for a little while, trying to save the soldiers that went down that didn't make the fall. But I would say probably 14 or 15 of those things made it through that tumble. And so I kept bringing them back to the tent, and in between I would just crack a bush light, and that was I had Jordan McClary with me last year, and we'd sit there and we would enjoy a beer and then head back out into the tundra, because I can't believe how cold it got. I mean, if someone is watching this Voss Talks, which who isn't, right? That's the one thing I would tell them is do not underestimate how cold it gets at night. I mean, during the day we were getting sunburns, and at night I thought I was being cryogenically frozen. It was so cold. It's unbelievable. I think part of it too is you're not running real hard.
And so also, I always brag about Southern Ohio being a big mountain town. We have those wild weather shifts. So you gotta keep that on your mind when you're coming down to Southern Ohio.
Yeah, I didn't see any snowflakes fly, but gosh, it sure felt like it, And then the next day, sun comes up, it's beautiful again. But I mean, I don't think you can pack enough clothing for those nighttime hours. But I can't wait to see everybody throw down some big numbers. We've got a guy here from Worcester, Ryan Hostetler, who I'm pulling for to represent our area, and he's been training like crazy. I mean, I see the guy he runs past my house at like 7 a.m, and then at like 5 in the afternoon he's still running around town, still just practicing for OBU. So it's pretty inspiring seeing people get out there. And Michael, you've created some chaos down there. I mean, how long was the sellout this year? Was it like 3 seconds or 5 minutes, or what was it?
It was like 6 hours, something along those lines. People that woke up in the morning expecting to register, they were kind of on the wait list.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because you did them dirty. You opened registration at midnight. Some of my buddies, they all had their alarm set for 11:30, and then they got up and sat there and stared at the computer waiting for it to go live. So what you've done down there is pretty special. Not having Wesley there, I got to admit that's a hit. It'll be hard to make up for that, but see what you can do.
I mean, I'll be there, so.
Like I said, not having Wesley there will be hard. That'll be a big hit.
We're missing a big chunk of the Worcester crew, though, too. We're going to miss you, Brian, and we're going to miss Gabe and Jacob as well, some staples of OBU.
Well, we will be back. I mean, Jacob is having kids by the pair. I don't know if you guys know about him. He's having, like, every time they have kids, they have twins, and he's getting ready for Western States this year, so he doesn't want to mess anything up, and I don't blame him. Gabe is on sabbatical. I don't know if you guys follow him or not, but he's gotten into like lumberjacking. He's making some like live edge. He's out there just cutting trees just to prove how manly he is, even though we all know he's the manliest man around. But he'll be back. My son can only play high school baseball for like 4 or 5, 6 years if he's at a Catholic school. But under that, it's like I think you're limited to 4 or 5 years of high school baseball. So I'll be back here in just a couple of years. So when the boys from up north come down, Michael and I've talked about this before. He's very, very intimidated by us up north, and we'll be back.
Brian, before you jump off here, you're a big proponent of the Ridge Runners predictions that we put out for races, and we will be making a prediction video for Ohio's Backyard Ultra, which will be going live on Wednesday. Brian, who are your picks? What are you thinking for this year's race?
Well, it's funny you mentioned that because whether I'm there or not, Wesley, I wouldn't be in your predictions. We've already kind of locked that in. You always undersell me, so. I'm definitely not there, and I wouldn't be in your picks anyway. But without really diving into the field too much, I would tend to say that this is Jen's race to lose. I don't think anybody understands how tough she is. Seeing her last year towards the end, I mean, not many people are willing to go into that deep of a cave as she is. All that being said, anything can happen. I mean, you can be feeling great, and then all of a sudden you have a brain shift and you're done. And I think that all these bronze ticket winners coming, so you have people that have been there, done that. So me, when I show up to a Backyard Ultra, I'm a poser. I mean, I just come, I run a bunch of loops, I tell a bunch of jokes, I hang out with my friends, and then when I get bored, I quit. Well, a lot of these guys are coming to Michael's race, OBU, having already won. They don't even know what it feels like to quit. So when it gets to the quitting part, they don't even know what to do. So it's going to be interesting having all these champions all squaring up at the same time. I think that it could lead to, I'm sorry, Michael, but this could be a 60-hour work week for you, which is maybe the first 60-hour work week you've put in ever.
I don't know, man. You had me up working at your race last week, and that was like 100 hours at least. I lost track. I haven't billed you yet.
Yeah, well, I already paid you. I bought you Leroy's. I bought you.
Oh, that was good. I need to come back for those Reuben bites, though, right?
Oh, no question. But
I'll be back.
I'll be following intently. How I'll be following, I'm not sure. I'll be looking for Facebook posts very randomly as you get service. But make sure you take care of us that are watching from home, because we're all watching and can't wait to see how it plays out.
Will do, for sure.
Awesome, guys. Good show. I'll be listening.
Awesome to talk to you, Brian. Thanks for calling in.
Yeah, good luck, Nick. Oh, hey, by the way, Nick to win.
There's the pick. Lock it in. Brian Folland says Nick Voss. Not only is he the face of Voss Talks, but he's also going to win Ohio's Backyard Ultra in 2022. I think Ridge Runner Nation would love to see it.
Not sure I could win hour one.
You could. I don't know. That's a hot lap. I just want to mention though, you can tell Brian's spent a career life of like watching sport talk radio, because he was just exactly what we needed here.
You brought up a good point too, Michael. Why don't you let people know how they can follow OBU if they're not going to be there in person?
Yeah. So I think OBU is a fun sport to follow, a fun race to follow. So, this is not the type of event that's feasible to have like chip timing. But, because it doesn't matter how fast you are. So what I'm doing this year is we're tracking who drops and who continues. And so we'll be tracking that on a spreadsheet that will be publicized on the web. So anybody can, we'll like pin it on our social media pages and put it on our website. So, any relatives or fans or family can tune in to see if their runner has dropped out or not. But also, I'll be making pretty regular Facebook updates. And this will just be updates on the race, my thoughts, information about the runners. I might tell a story or two about what has happened, because there's always some fun things that happen. And this will be periodic in the early goings. And then as the race gets thinner and thinner, I will make them pretty much every hour. So Facebook, SEOTR events, and then look for that link for the spreadsheet for who's DNF'd and who has continued.
You've got your own internet source there that you're drawing from, but for those if anyone's texting family members and friends and things like that, it's good to know there's no cell service right there. But the only way that they can get service is to climb a 200-foot hill and maybe get some service up there.
Yeah, that was the cool thing that happened in that first year. The walk up the 200-foot climb to the high point of the property became a well-trod path, because people were like, itching to get their updates out. And that was actually before I had internet connection down in the valley. I had to do that too to get the race updates. So, being up on your, being awake for that long and also making those hikes up the McChesney Ridge was daunting. But now I have a secret source of, internet data connection, which is pretty reliable. I hope that continues.
And I can speak to that 200-foot hill because I made that climb, I think, 11 times the first year when I was there, assisting with posting some updates for Mo.
That's right.
That's right. I got a lot of climbing that day, and I wasn't even running the race.
An important note for people watching who might not have been there to the property too. That 200-foot hill is not part of the course, so don't worry. There's nothing steep like that. You don't have to worry about anything big like that.
Right, exactly. The course is easy, to be honest.
Are there any changes this year?
Yeah, I knew this would come up. That's a good question because kind of like what Wesley alluded to earlier with the property being private, it's pretty cool because we have a lot of flexibility in altering the land. And with Reese having a lot of land management experience and skills, we're always trying to make it better. You know, we've made little changes every year, and the whole goal is to try to make it an easier course for the runners. That doesn't mean making it dead flat because it's impossible to do that here. But we can eliminate some of the tough sections that maybe takes more pounding, that your body takes more pounding. So we've changed it a lot, but it's actually pretty much the same as last year. There's two little changes that we made. Basically, we just basically shifted a trail over 10 feet to avoid some muddy sections, which it'll maybe be muddy still. But as Reese is kind of building out his trails, sometimes it just makes sense to move a trail over to a different ridge line or a different, you might bench it out on a ridge side differently. The one change that I think the runners will actually notice mostly is, if you guys remember who's ran the race, we would go up close to the house and go across the boardwalk. There's now a trail that runs parallel to the boardwalk that's a little bit more smooth and doesn't create a pinch point there getting onto the wooden boardwalk.
It seems like a great place for a bunch of high fives as you go by that boardwalk.
Yeah, and so part of the reason we changed that was because we wanted to invite fans up there to the boardwalk. Any time they can go up there. We'll have some lights strung up on the boardwalk, and it's already right there next to the house. So Reese is going to invite people. Anybody can go up there and cheer on their runners as long as they're not giving them physical aid. It's a cool spot to spectate the event, at least during the daytime where it's nice. It's a good perch up above the lake, and so the new little trail that we cut in to the hillside is also going to eliminate. If you guys remember, there's a lot of mud right after the boardwalk that formed. It was like the only muddy section of the course, really, if it's in a dry year. It kind of takes that little muddy section out. But you never know. It could rain a lot, which it looks like there's going to be a little bit of rain on Friday. So it might be muddy regardless. But so yeah, the changes are pretty nominal. The same amount of elevation gain per loop. The nighttime loop, we changed the way we exit the property from last year, which is actually going to be easier to you guys, I think. And that means the turnaround point will be slightly different, but that's just getting down to the little small details that Reese and I know well, and the repeat runners will know well. But when runners show up to run, it's not going to be any hindrance or any benefit either.
Well, we always appreciate you coming on here to break some news. A lot of people have been stalking your Strava when you've made the trip down to McChesney Ridge Athletic Club and trying to zoom in on the satellite map. Okay, where is the new changes? What does this new course look like? And so it's glad to finally get it out there to the public.
Right. Yeah. Well, Strava, you can't zoom in as far anymore, so you can't find those little spots anymore.
Probably for the better, and they saved Ohio's Backyard Ultra for that reason. We've got someone else on in the queue right now, so let's get them on the line, joining us on Voss Talks here. Who do we have joining us, and where you're from? Do we got you?
Yeah, you there?
Yep, we got you.
There we go. This is Lenny McClary.
Hey,
how's
Lenny.
it going?
Hey, how you guys doing tonight?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Just sitting here drinking a little off UFO Maine blueberry beer here. Just trying to get in the mood, just hang out with you guys.
Right on.
Yeah, we appreciate you joining us. So what questions do you have? What topics do you want to talk about for this year's Ohio's Backyard Ultra?
This right here will be my very first actual ultra race. I'm fairly new to the whole ultra scene, but I've got plenty of good company that I've been around for the past couple of years. Helping me get into this. Alicia Bowling, absolutely phenomenal woman that I've been running with. Cannot say enough good things about this girl. She is absolutely tough as nails. Then Tanner Lee, been running with Tanner. These two people right here, they've just set it up to where, I'm just so stoked about being up there with you guys, just hanging out and running. But went up there to the preview, and that was pretty cool. To have to go out there, run the course, see what it's all about. Help Reese build a fire. That was pretty cool. But,
Nice.
Hey, it's good stuff going on up there.
That's awesome, Lenny, and I think it's pretty cool because there's like 10 people from Kentucky, and you're probably right across the river from Kentucky, right?
Actually, yeah. It's right there from the Southern Ohio, Ashland, Huntington area. There's some absolutely phenomenal talent down here. I mean, just absolutely amazing. Like I say, the people that I mentioned earlier, Alicia and Tanner. Then plus we got Dan Green. Oh my God, the man is a stud. I hope he doesn't fall too far under your guys' radar. But then when I was up there at the preview, got to run with Seth. We did, I think, 16 miles together, and come to find out, we've got a lot of mutual friends. So that was that made the miles just click by really, really fast.
That's awesome. Yeah, we are not keeping Dan under our radar. He's definitely someone who's really broke onto the scene. I think he'll do great things. And it's so cool to hear that people like Alicia and Tanner have influenced you to do this event and do ultra marathons and get into trail running in general. What else is on your schedule this year?
So what I've got is actually with the immense help of Alicia, I've actually qualified for the Boston Marathon.
Nice.
So I'll be doing that 29 days after this event, which is gonna be quite the feat. But being a 47-year-old male, happened to be able to qualify at a 3:20, and like I say, with her help, I was able to come in with a 3:14:22.
Nice.
I was super stoked, and just to cross the finish line and to see the person that made it all happen right there. I mean, it was absolutely amazing. But like I say, right now the focus is on OBU. Just to see what I can do. I'm definitely not an ultra kind of guy, but I've over the past year or so, just the trails and the long mileage and the hype and everything that you guys have been able to produce up there at in the Lucasville area. Being from South Point, it's right there at my back door, so this is exciting.
That's awesome, and congrats on qualifying for Boston. There's actually 2 people now that I know of who are running OBU and Boston. The other person is Crystal Miller, so it'll be interesting to see how you both recover and do at Boston less than a month later. That's pretty awesome.
And Alicia, she actually qualified for Boston at Boston last year, so she's going to be doing the doubleheader as well.
Nice, that's 3. That's awesome.
But looking forward later on. I'll be crewing Alicia at Mohican. she's gonna be doing that one in June. Then later on, I've got the KT up there. I cannot remember when that is, but I'll be doing KT up there in West Virginia, and then I've also got Tunnel Hill coming up in November.
Nice.
That is a fully loaded schedule. That's awesome.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes, but really looking forward to this event coming up this weekend. I'm kind of nervous. The whole nutrition, fueling strategy, especially being new to the racing scene there for only 4 years. But I'm feeling kind of confident.
Good.
Well, Lenny, that's perfect. I think you should go into it with confidence. I haven't done a whole lot of really long stuff in the few years I've been running, but I can say without a doubt it is the most runner friendly and dare I say easiest 50K and even 50 miles that I've ever done. So go into it with confidence, enjoy it, talk to everybody around you. Like you said, those miles are going to fly by.
Perfect. Absolutely love it.
And then also, don't be afraid to share your goals with other people too. I think there's going to be, if you tell someone, hey, I want to, continue going on, the whole community around you will kind of lift you up in those moments where you kind of think there's an inch of doubt. So that's kind of the one special part about Ohio's Backyard Ultra as well. So we're excited to see you out there.
That was actually the part that kind of had me a little hesitant was sharing with people, because everybody asks you, as soon as you say that you're doing something like this, they want to know what's your goal. And I'm like, God, well, I have 2 goals. And going against what you just said, but I'll keep both of those goals to myself. But I believe, Michael actually touched on one of those earlier in the cast here, was don't limit yourself to a certain mileage. And that was exactly, the mileage that he had mentioned was exactly one of my goals. So I'm throwing that out there now. That right there, that is going to be, something that I've completely lost. I'm not even looking forward to that goal anymore. But I still have one other in mind. So, I absolutely can't wait to get up there and meet everybody. Alicia has made this, it's so personal. It's not just like another marathon or another 5K or 10K. It's when you get into the lineup and the people and what they've done to get here and what they've done to stay here. Like Jennifer Russo and Tanner Lee, even Michael. I mean, it's just amazing, the stories behind everything. And it's going to make it so much more of an experience than just a race. So I'm really looking forward to that part.
Definitely. Do you have any closing statements for us tonight?
Let's go with Alicia is absolutely amazing. She's going to go far. Tanner's going to go far. Dan Green's going to go far. And I just hope that I'm around to help them if they need anything. But this is going to be an absolutely amazing life experience. I can't wait.
That's great, Lenny. So good to hear that.
Yeah, Lenny's gonna go far too. Don't sleep on that. So.
All right.
Yeah, Lenny. Thanks for calling in. We do have a.
All right. Well, guys, I appreciate it very much.
Yep. Well, enjoy the race. Have fun.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, no, that was awesome to kind of hear from someone who's going into this race for the very first time and kind of experience the format and, luckily he was at the preview run and kind of got to see the course beforehand. So that kind of gives him a little bit of an upper edge too, which is, I mean, it's awesome just to be out there. Anytime you can spend at McChesney Ridge is a special time for sure.
All right, thank you guys.
Yep. Have a good night.
All right, thank you. Bye.
So I think we've got a couple chat questions here. The first one's from Anna Stormer that we're going to get to. This question's for Michael. How substantial does the reflective gear have to be for the night loops, and does the reflective belt count?
Gotcha. Yeah, so that is one of the rules of the race at night. We require everybody to wear a reflective garment of some form beyond just a headlamp. And you know, I don't really know how to answer that. I don't really know what the reflective belt would look like, but something, you know, more is better, you know, from a safety standpoint. The reason we put that rule in place is because there is traffic on the road. It's not something that we want to take for granted that cars will see us. And so just don't try to skimp on the reflectiveness, you know, don't try to lighten your load. But I think a reflective belt would do well. You know, if it's full coverage, if it goes all the way around you, then a car headlights will reflect off that, and I think that's okay. But I guess maybe my rules left it a little vague, but you can typically find a pretty lightweight vest that kind of goes over, crisscrosses with, you know, reflective strips on the front and the back. But yeah, the reflective belt will be good.
I think that's the key from experience. You just want something on the front and the back. And then, you know, keep in mind too, you got a lot of runners around you, you know, at least for the first night, for a while too. So it's not too nerve wracking out there, you know, with the cars. And I think runners that are towards the front do a good job of trying to get some of those cars to slow down a bit and go on by.
Yeah. And we're always trying to add some things to try to, you know, alert the vehicles. And obviously it's pretty dead in the middle of the night, like 2 a.m., 3 a.m. But that first couple hours on the road, it can be, you know, a little bit of rush hours in terms of traffic. So I always try to just caution the runners, say, hey, like, be smart out there. You're not in a rush. Like, that's the good thing about the road loop and this format is that you don't need to be rushing to like cross the road or to like pass people. Like, get in single file, get as far over left on the road as you can. And I'll be going over this kind of stuff in the briefings before the hour starts where we go out to the road. But yeah, that's yeah, just from a safety standpoint, that's at that point it becomes first and foremost to focus on and being really transparent and communicative about that for all the runners. So that's why that rule's in place. That's why also you know, I always tell people to keep your headphones out of one ear if you can, and turn the volume down and just be aware of your surroundings at all times.
Yeah, no, that's great advice. And like you said, like Nick said, you know, on night one, there are a ton of people out there. So it is, you know, all it takes is one car. So just be cautious out there. I think we do have Chadwick Robinson's in the chat, and we've actually got a video that he submitted before the show. So we're going to cue that up and play that now.
Oh boy.
So my question is, what is your...
We'll come back to that. It didn't load right.
All right, we'll come back to it, but it's gonna be good. Chadwick sent us in one. You know, he's not, like he said, he's on a DC trip with his students, so he couldn't join us live, but he did want to take part in Voss Talks with us tonight. Kind of give us to get a bit of a background, Michael, about, you know, this year's field and, you know, the runners that are kind of in it, kind of what you see from a race director's point of view, and kind of how the, you know, the talent and, you know, just the community has kind of improved year over year in terms of, you know, just the number of, you know, big names that are showing up at this race.
Yeah, it really has grown all around. You know, we have sold out every year, mainly due to the low capacity that we allow in, but the competitiveness has grown every year, which is a true testament to our region and kind of how competitive runners are in Ohio and just the surrounding states to have such deep fields. And so we talked about it earlier. I don't have all the numbers of all the different backyard ultras in the world, but I do know that we are, one of the deeper fields with the mileages that runners are hitting and the number of hours that they hit. Last year, 2021, we had 38 runners reach 100 miles. So with that, you got to think anyone reaching 100 miles at a backyard ultra is doing it under 24 hours. And that's just majorly impressive in itself. So each year, that's kind of the benchmarks that I use to gauge how competitive the field gets from one year to the next, and that number has gone up every year from, a dozen the first year to 14 the second year. And then, like I said, 38 people made it the most recent year. And so this year, I don't think it's necessarily a lack of competitive if we don't reach that number, but the field is definitely just all around so deep. And, Brian Pullen, when he was on the show earlier, talked about how Jen Russo is kind of coming in as the odds-on favorite. And that's probably true just from her resume and the fact that she went 225 miles last year, and she's, just more and more experience each year. But also it's just there's probably, I don't know how many people could win this thing. It's just endless. And that's the cool thing about the backyard ultra is it can be an unknown name if they're having their day. So, the more people that reach those big numbers, the more, Ohio's backyard ultra kind of secures itself as being known as just one of those really competitive affiliate races. It wasn't until a couple years ago that Laz had 38 runners reaching the 100-mile mark, and we've done it in just a few years as well. So that's really awesome. And, I think too, to kind of like make the case for the course, like even though it is one of the hillier courses for a backyard ultra, it's got 450, 470 feet of elevation gain. I think just what it does is it kind of optimizes people's ability to go far. And I think the way that it has some hills and some undulation in it is better for our bodies. Obviously, I have no scientific proof of that, but I just think it would be harder to go that far on a pancake flat course for 55 hours or more. I think it mixes up the muscles we use, mixes up the mental scape that we're in. And so I don't think having 450 feet per loop is a hindrance. I think it actually optimizes, our event to allow those big distances. I think there's kind of a range, maybe it's kind of a sweet spot, but I think we're in that range. It's pretty comparable to Laz's course from an elevation standpoint, and ours is really smooth. I think the footing and the width of the trail makes it conducive for big miles. And so it's kind of a perfect storm in my opinion. And then I think the atmosphere really lends itself to people wanting to do their best. And that's kind of the tone that's set at OBU.
Yeah, no, I fully agree. And, one person who definitely is going to agree with that is Nick Voss, who continues to come back, year after year to run this thing. Nick, kind of what are your thoughts going into this year's race? What are you most looking forward to from, participating again?
Yeah, kind of like Michael said, I think it's really cool to see how many more people kind of push those boundaries. And, Wes and I think you and I chatted offline about, maybe top contenders and things like that. And it's hard, right? Like there's just so many, and, at the expense of not leaving anybody off. Like I legitimately think that half of this field could make it to 100 miles. And at least, so, I know Andrew Waugh is someone who's looking forward to beating that 38 number. So I know he's going to be encouraging everybody out there around him to go a little bit farther. And that's the beauty of it for me, and it's not just about, those who make it 2 or 3 days. It's everybody through the spectrum that can push to a new limit or set a new PR. All of that's just really cool to see. And it's one of those things that it feels like, not to kind of beat a dead horse, but it feels like a reunion coming back, seeing all the familiar faces, but also interested to kind of see the new faces and how they take in the race and the course and all of that. So just really looking to take it all in. I'll be there. I took Monday off, so I'll at least be there watching and rooting for people if we go to Monday again, and I hope we do.
I was hoping you'd be there Sunday night, Nick, in one way or another.
One way or another, yep.
So I think we actually have someone also in the queue right now and about to hop on the line with us. So let's get him on here. We have joining us on the line, and where are you calling from?
This is Reese from Portsmouth, Ohio.
Reese. What's up, man?
How's it going?
Going good. Love seeing you guys cover this, and just getting super excited for the weekend. It's like the Super Bowl, for me and for many people too.
Yeah, I mean, this takes place on your property, so obviously this has become one of a super special event for you. Talk about what it means to you to kind of have all these people from all over the country kind of come down to the McChesney Ridge Athletic Club and have these pretty epic experiences.
It gets easier every year to say this, but fundamentally, it's a really fierce. At its roots, it's a really fierce competition between some, amazing ultra runners. But year in and year out, it actually just sort of morphs into more of this fierce effort combined with all the people to see how far this can go. So it's just fun. We're in year 4 now, and it's just like, where are the limits? You don't know.
It's a good point too. And I think backyard ultras as a whole, right? Like we see the limits being pushed month after month, year after year. I think it was just, I don't know how many years ago, 4 years ago, that the top mileage anyone ever reached was just over 200 miles. It was like 204 miles or something like that. And it's like, that's, almost expected at some of the top backyard ultras now if you want to have a chance.
Yeah. It's funny. Yeah. The first year we were at 129 here, and it was a huge excitement, right? It was like, looking back, like Troy Allen probably could have been gone much further.
Yeah. Shout out to Troy.
Yeah. So
yeah, it's pretty amazing, right?
Reese, what questions, what topics do you have for us, or do you want to get out there to the public before this year?
Just like a weather report. Like, it's going to be warmer than it's ever been. The nighttime low is not looking as low. Friday is looking like some rain on setup, which shouldn't be bad. As long as we avoid the big winds, I think the weather is shaping up to be the best it's been.
Do you have an up-to-date forecast for us there locally? I looked a little earlier today, and it looked like those nighttime lows had crept down kind of about 35 degrees or so.
And that happened in the last 12 hours, and that's what happened. So I haven't checked it since. Since you've checked it, but
who knows, right? It's still probably too early to really look at those things, but we still do, or at least I do.
Certainly every year, though, it's been in the low 20s, right before start time.
Yeah.
So, if it's 32, that's going to be a bonus this year, big time.
Bonus year. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, that's a good point. The weather, we've been pretty lucky over the years for the most part. It's really not been crazy wet any of the 3 years, but it has been cold, which I don't think is a bad thing for the runners, unless maybe you get a little bit too cold and not able to rebound from that. But and also you got to keep in mind, to all the runners listening, it may be 35 out in the normal elevations, but down in the valley of where McChesney Ridge is, it can be colder and it can be a little bit windier down there. And so anybody new, just be prepared, have a wind jacket, have, the proper warm clothing, gloves, hats, pants, jackets, to combat that. But yeah, I think what Reese said is going to be probably the warmest nighttime lows that we've had in the 4 years. So it'll be interesting. But also, if the daytime highs get too high, it's going to be a little bit more challenging with the heat. But last year was hot too, so that didn't seem to thwart the mileage.
Reese, do you have any tips or who's your pick this year for to win it all? You been thinking about this one? Big predictions?
I'm awful on predictions, but I will say that guys like Chadwick Robinson has been, and John Williams. Those are two guys that have been to the property a lot in the last year, and I think they're kind of calling it home. So year after year, time after time, those are my cats. Those are like the home team, right? So I'm just rooting for those two big time.
Yeah, I like those picks. Yeah, those are good shout outs.
And obviously Jen Russo. Nick's been really awesome, which is her husband. And, just great people. And Tanner Lee, defending champ. So, yeah, those are tough to beat.
It's going to be another awesome year at Ohio's Backyard Ultra, and we're excited to see it all take place. Do you have any closing thoughts for us tonight?
The course is looking really good. It's smoother, it's flatter, it's drier. It's going to be a fun time, and the parking is going to be a little logistically better. So I think it's just going to run really smooth.
Well, we're looking forward to it, man.
Yeah, you guys are awesome. Thanks for putting this on.
For sure. Thanks for hopping on with us tonight. Good luck this weekend. It's going to be awesome. We're excited to follow from afar. At least I am.
See you in a couple of days, Reese.
All right, see ya.
Bye.
Always good having Reese Brown hop on Voss Talks with us.
Oh yeah. Hopefully he's got a lot of wood ready for that fire.
And I just, I think I just want to give a shout out to Reese myself because, obviously this is his property. A lot of the inspiration, Reese and I have these long talks when we're together and we're hanging out at the property and in the cabin. Just, it's inspired a lot of this. But Reese has done an amazing job, getting this property to where it is today. And him and his wife, Bree, have managed the business, and Reese has managed the land side. And I wish we could all, get out and see, if you've already DNF'd or if you're a spectator, take a walk around the property beyond the OBU course, because there's some cool other trails that are a bit too hilly for the Backyard Ultra course. But you'll see a lot of really cool things on McChesney Ridge property that Reese has developed and built. So shout out to him for making an awesome venue and for all the help that he's done over the years.
Definitely. And yeah, like you said, he's kind of helped build that culture as well. One thing that Reese did mention in his picks was Chadwick Robinson. I think we are officially ready to queue up his videos here. So let's send it over to C Rob here and see what he's got for us.
I can't wait.
So my question is, what is your vice before a race? OBU. I mean, you go for the Villa Italian chicken. You go Chipotle. You go the Shawarmist right there. You go for what I did. I did the Panda Express. Yeah. Or do you just keep cutting through random people and you find all that you can find? I mean, you can, even between eating foods, you can just play some video games, old arcade style tickets. You got all kinds of stuff. I mean, Bridge Renovation, this is just awesome. I mean, it's for the win. I mean, this is Chadwick, Wesley Hart, and Robinson coming in. You can get some sunglasses, but what do you really do? What do you really eat before a race? Haagen-Dazs? You go for Haagen-Dazs, or you go for the Yongkang Street. Kind of expensive, but probably pretty good. You never know. Or you can just break in and go to Cake Baby. They don't have any food yet, but you can make food there. There's probably some inside. Or the Little Beat. And Annie's, you go there. What do you guys do? I do anything.
I guess anything is better than everything in his case, but shoo.
So that's the question. What do you guys eat before a race? I mean, he just laid out all the great options there for us. Anything there look appetizing to you, Nick?
Well, this race particularly, there's really only one thing to eat, and that's got to be Avalanche Pizza. And I hope Michael's not going to disappoint us.
You're getting it wrong. You're in the wrong.
I'm already messing it up.
You need to come back for Thunder Bunny for Avalanche. We do Giovanni's for OBU.
Oh well, whatever Earl the Pearl brings down to OBU.
He brings the secret vegan pizza.
Okay. Well, no. Either way, it's pizza, no matter what. Pizza before the race. That's what you got to do.
Yeah, I borrow that technique from the great David Horton, race director down in Virginia. Lots of pizza the night before the race, just get everybody carved up, because I know we're all super high carb people around here in Ohio. But yes, speaking of stuff that you eat or consume, Nick, I have a guest question. Neil Hertenstein has texted me asking if you're bringing him something from Colorado.
Oh yeah, Neil's going to get a special delivery of some of my hand-selected favorite picks of Colorado beer out here. I know Neil is a big fan of Colorado beers, particularly the IPAs. So I've curated a nice selection for him, and he won't be disappointed. So when he shows up on Saturday, you're just going to have to point to his box, and he'll be very excited.
Yeah, it's finally something that draws him down to the race. It has to be something from Colorado. Next year, maybe he'll be on the starting line to actually participate in OBU, but this is the next best thing. So I appreciate Nick.
This is how it starts, right? You get him there, see it in person, and he won't be able to turn it down next year.
We can only hope.
Do you have the number of beers that you are bringing to Mr. Neil there? Or is that number too high?
Let's see. It is.
Be careful though. How many you're crossing state borders there.
Yeah. I mean, they're not real beers, but
of course.
No. It's like 33 or 34 beers for him. So it's a good haul. Should keep him busy for a while.
He's gonna have a super fun Saturday and into Sunday. That's for sure. So yeah, C-Rob's question there, all the food, actually Panda Express for me, that's just where I'm going to take the cake before a workout, before a race. I'm in on that most days. So that's, had it today for lunch. So.
I think the real answer everyone wants to hear is just eat what you normally eat. I don't think it doesn't make sense to try and overdo it, the night before or anything like that.
Is that really where C-Rob was taking us? You never know with that guy.
I'm not sure. I know he'll have a value size bag of Sour Patch Kids. That's about all I know as far as C-Rob's nutrition goes.
Yeah, I don't really know what else he does, to be honest, nutrition wise.
But,
Sour Patch Kids.
He doesn't have time to focus on nutrition when he's up there on the DJ booth changing the song every lap. And that's the thing. When Brian Poland hopped on here, he said he got bored. If he was an active participant like C-Rob was, he would have no issues. That's kind of on Brian for not trying to take initiatives and like going up to the DJ booth and changing the song as much as C-Rob does throughout the day, because he really keeps the people going all day long and into the night.
Yeah, last year, you knew that C-Rob got serious when he started coming straight across the finish line up to his laptop, because he brought down the music to change the song to his preferences. He was getting into the zone. Unfortunately, yeah, it didn't last long after that. But this year, I think we keep it more mellow on the soundtrack. That way, it'll be more in this, later miles before he gets into that zone.
Are we going to see a little Encanto soundtrack making an appearance at Ohio's Backyard Ultra this year?
I mean, it's your favorite movie, Wes. I don't know.
And you got me onto it, so I think we just need to share this with the rest of Ridge Runner Nation.
I don't think there's been. I think most people have heard most of the songs. Maybe not. Probably not.
I mean, look at Cam and Nick here. I think
I have not heard a single song.
There's not a chance.
I am one of the Latinos Disney is pandering to by making that film, even so.
When I hear the name Encanto, it sounds like some kind of a like metal like band that I've definitely not listened to.
100%. Let's see here. If there's anyone else that wants to hop on tonight, text the number above us and we will get you on. Before we kind of provide closing thoughts here, I think it'd be kind of cool to go around the room, maybe give, your favorite Ohio's Backyard Ultra memory that's happened with each of us so far. Obviously, it's a special race for all of us for different reasons. So I think let's just kind of start there, and whoever wants to take the floor.
I mean, I'll go ahead and start, and I still kind of stand by what I said that, it feels like a family reunion where you actually like your family. Although I suppose not everybody comes from families like mine. So maybe you do enjoy family reunions. But, even with that, I think one thing that I really learned from my 2 years racing there is just how important your mental engagement is to your success at a race. And, if you're waking up the morning of a race, like I wasn't like, I don't really want to do this. You're probably not going to do that well in the race. And that might seem like a silly lesson, but, took trial and error for me to learn. So that's honestly been, for me, one of the biggest things to take away from this is that, it's a really great community aspect, but it's not something for me. So I'll be looking for Michael's Facebook updates from Montana.
If you follow me.
If I do.
I think you do, but I honestly have been on Facebook for a while, so I'm not sure.
Nick, what about you?
Well, for me, I think it's a pretty easy one. OBU last year, of course, beating Cam was great, but that's definitely not my favorite memory. My favorite memory is for sure, what happened after I was already done, which is I met my girlfriend Claire at the race. So that's I can't really say that there's anything that tops that.
I was hoping you would say that, Nick, because if you weren't going to bring it up, I was going to have to bring it up. One of the benefits of dropping out when you did was that you got to spend a lot of time around the fire, which is, you know what they say about fires. I don't really know what they say about fires, but
were you trying to was that a Tinder reference for Michael Owen?
I think it was. I just couldn't place it. I knew there was something about kindling tender. I couldn't quite get up to that speed, but thanks, Cam. That's right.
Yeah.
It's like the most.
We know in a past life, pre-Claire Voss was a Bumble guy anyways. Wesley, what is your favorite OBU memory?
Well, my favorite OBU memory had to be, the year that I crushed you by about 30 miles or so. So that's the only
Listen,
thing.
If you didn't crush me at OBU, I think you need to readjust your goals, honestly.
I'm trying to think of a Cam moment here. I can keep the trend going here, but go ahead.
Yeah, realistically, I think the year that 2020 November, I did like 54 miles or whatnot that year, and kind of signed up for it last minute, kind of got in, and kind of going out there and kind of sharing the experience with so many people was something that I truly cherished. I spent so many miles with Mary Kitzig and kind of talking with her, and Craig Diatley. He was pushing for his first 50 miler at the time, and so it was just kind of fun. Kind of being out there with so many different people, and that's the one part about the Backyard Ultra format that it is a little underrated. Compared to like a rim to river race, where you get to go out and you get to have cool conversations. Everyone's not together. The leaders take off and they're gone. Dan Green, never saw the guy. But, at Ohio's Backyard Ultra, you would get the opportunity to kind of run with everyone throughout the day. And that's kind of one part that I truly cherish about the Backyard Ultra format in general, and especially everyone that's at Ohio's Backyard Ultra.
Is John going to be able to get a memory in here? JD3?
Yeah, I can drop in a quick memory. Besides the one I already mentioned earlier about climbing up the hill numerous times for you. So I'm excited to be there this year, hanging out with everybody. I'll be there Sunday morning, taking some photos and whatnot, and sharing with everyone how everyone's doing out there on the course.
Social media updates?
Social media updates. You'll see some pictures of people, hopefully in smiling modes and not super, tired and agony ridden from the 3-day event that we're going to see there when we get into Monday morning. It's definitely going to go that far. I also have awful work.
I was going to say it depends on what hours you were taking photos.
All the hours. We're getting all the hours here, so
I like it.
Yep. But I mean, my biggest memory is just hanging out. I just remember that first year watching and hanging out, and my favorite memory ever was turning around and looking at Michael Owen on that little hill right after the start, laying down, curled up in the fetal position, sleeping, just out. Man could not handle it anymore. He was done. Someone had to wake him up so he can do the bell or with a whistle for the next hour. He's just so tired.
I still claim that I didn't fall asleep, but everyone seems to think that I was out cold, which I can't refute the facts. But
I have a picture of it, man.
You were doing the classic dad thing. You were just resting your eyes. Come on, everybody.
Exactly.
He was just resting his eyes.
And the funny thing is that was the year that the winner was 29 hours. We went 55 hours last year, and I did the same thing. I didn't fall asleep much, but I guess that segues into my memories. I don't have any memory of that, so that's not mine. But I've been sitting here thinking, what is my favorite memory of OBU, or one that stands out? And I can't really think of one memory. I think just the whole, when I sit around thinking about OBU, it's really just about the whole experience. And as a race director, I tell people this all the time. Yeah, I'm in race director mode. I'm at most of my races. I have to go out and set up and tear down and do course corrections, or help set up an aid station. I'm doing everything. But at OBU, it's the one race that I put on where I kind of get to be a fan for a bit. When the bell rings, you get about 40 minutes before the first finisher comes back through for their hour. And, sometimes I'm doing some stuff. I'm cleaning up around camp, or I'm, bossing some volunteers around or whatever. But, I get to spectate as well. And that's what I really love about it. I get to shift roles a little bit and really be part of the community more on a personal level. And, I'm still the race director, but, I'm still a person that loves the sport and loves this event, just like all the other crew members and runners and spectators that are there. And so it's kind of fun to morph into that mode during OBU. And the fireside discussions, 2 a.m., 3 a.m., watching a blossoming relationship between Nick and Claire form in real time, and getting burnt by embers and watching tents fly away. Like it's all part of the memory bank that makes the entire event special. And so that's those are all those things molded together just makes one big memory for me.
Yeah, no, super well said. And the chat down below is also kind of going through their favorite memories right now. So it's kind of cool to see all those reminiscing, taking a trip down memory lane as well. We do have someone in the queue ready to join us on the line. So let's get him in here, John. Who do we have joining us on the line, and where are you from?
Hi guys, this is Maggie from Athens, Ohio, or Big Saggy on Strava, because it's funny.
Maggie, how's it go?
Oh, I have the obnoxious question I want to ask, but then a real version of it. So this may be cheating, but I would love to know how do you guys have tips for how I specifically can win the Backyard Ultra? And the real question is, I want to answer that.
I have an answer for you, Maggie. So go ahead and ask your second one first, though.
If you had one piece of advice to give somebody to break through their first 100-miler, what would it be?
Okay, so I'll answer your first question, Maggie. There's lots of ways you can win Backyard Ultra. You're pretty big into cats and like amphibians and reptiles. You just bring them all and just set them loose into people's bags and food, and you might just get them all to like freak out a bit and miss the start or something. You're the only person standing up there when the bell rings, and then all you gotta do is finish the lap. So no, that's my answer for it.
Well, Maggie, yeah. I don't want to say that you're doomed, but I think the biggest key is that you need Isaac Gibson there to help you, like last year. And if he were there, I don't know, maybe it could happen.
We need to get Isaac down, don't we?
Somebody bring Isaac. Isaac, he's been called.
He's watching. I know he's watching.
He's always watching. He's always watching us. No, the big tip for me, Maggie, is you just be the last one standing. If you're the last one standing, you will win the race. So I think that's really all you
never sit.
Yeah, just don't sit down.
Advice.
That's actually general life advice. Wesley is very anti-sitting. He's got this weird rig in his room right now. That's a standing desk he's in. He just has it. It looks like a chair, so people don't think he's strange.
I think this format of race is totally changing that metaphorical chair in ultra running, though. Like, this is teaching people to be really good at sitting and then continuing on every hour.
Transitional chair.
It's like a really big fartlek, like speed play. Like you're going fast, you shut it down for a little bit, and like I think runners that are able to really, be able to do that well and stay efficient, and I think obviously this event turned into a big mental game, and I think staying calm and relaxed, even when things get rough, is really important, and just kind of have that trust that things will get better, and never overreact. Like don't cram food, or don't raise up your heart rate because you're anxious. Just like stay real even keeled, and never stress about people sometimes get to that 55 plus range, and they start thinking that they are close to being missing the time, but 5 minutes is a lot. It's a huge percentage of the hour. And so I think my advice is be okay being at 58 minutes, and just adjust your approach to the transition, think about it as you're going in, stay focused, stay alert with what you need. And if you only have a 2-minute transition, then you've got 15 minutes to plan what you need, and you don't need to like rush or do things drastically to like wear yourself out. I think mental energy is a thing, and so we can reduce our output by staying relaxed mentally as well as physically.
Yeah, no, I think that's great advice. And kind of going off the second question that you asked, Maggie, I was kind of pondering, some advice that I give. And, this isn't a 100-mile race, so it doesn't apply to Ohio's Backyard Ultra. This isn't a race where you go into it hitting 100 miles and you stop there, like Michael alluded to earlier. But for me, it's always been, the night hours, somewhere between 70 miles and 84, 85, where it still seems so far away. But if you kind of get over that hump to, 87, closer to that 90-mile mark, you kind of realize that it really is in reach. And so kind of just being extra laser focused during that, later stage of the night, because naturally your body does want to shut down. And naturally you do get tired at 11 p.m., 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, when you're not used to, running at that hour. But once, 5 a.m. comes around, things quite literally do come around for you. So that's the advice I'd give for a 100-mile race outside of, I guess, OBU. Cam, Nick, you guys got anything?
I'm the wrong guy to go to for advice because Maggie, you've beaten me at OBU, and I've also never finished a 100-mile race. So I was just gonna stay on mute.
Oh, that was another intention.
And that's and well, that's the that's the mindset we need to work on here with positivity. Be nice to ourselves as well. And don't compare. I think that's something that runners have a hard time separating from. Don't compare ourselves with our competitors. At OBU, we get to see everybody finishing. We get to see the runners go in 43 minutes. We get to see the runners go in 55 minutes. We're all kind of doing our own thing that's working best for us. We got to find that. Sometimes it might take some hours to kind of find our correct groove, but everyone has their sweet zone. Harvey Lewis, who won last year and went 329 miles at Biggs, he's running a different pace than his assist and vice versa. So finding our own personal, little groove there and not adjusting based on, any other reasons.
Michael, I know you already mentioned the mental aspect, but, talk about, your first attempt at the Backyard Ultra format. You went over 36 hours the very first try that you did that, and which was, farther than well beyond, your farthest run ever. Is there anything specific, or did you encounter any challenges after that 24-hour, 100-mile mark? And what did you kind of do, whether it was mental or not, to kind of get yourself to keep going?
Yeah. I did do the quarantine Backyard Ultra. So I did it from my house, which is really cool. In the very beginning months of the pandemic, which seems like forever ago. But yeah, I think something that I do on a personal note in all of my races and also when I did the Backyard Ultra from my house was I do a lot of visualization and like, I guess I can't pinpoint the word for it, but like role playing within my own head. And so it's all obviously like it's all mental mind, it's mind shifts. But like when I got to 12 hours, I just tried to convince myself that we're sort of starting over. We're starting into a new, run. Like, like in the back of my head, I obviously know that I've already ran for 12 hours or, I did the same thing when the sun came up the next morning. I'm like, okay, let's just reshift our mindset. Let's get into a different role. I'm lacing up my shoes for the first time today. I'm going out for a run. And, I think it's something that I've done throughout my running career. Like when I've been out to 100-mile races, and I have like 20 miles left, I'll think, this is just my 20-miler around the Shawnee Forest, or this is just my 20-miler around Stroud's Run. This might be the last 20 miles of a 100-mile run, but it's like putting that in my mind gives me some perspective and an image to kind of go after. And so with the Backyard Ultra, it's a similar thing. Every time the hour hits, for me, it's like, how could I, shift my mind into a different setting and start the run over. Try to forget about what you've done. And the challenges that I faced were injury related, from a pre-existing injury. And so I don't quite know how you overcome that necessarily. But yeah, it's something that you have to make a call about as well when stuff like that comes up, because that can also shift from going away or coming back or any number of, or getting worse, and I think that was what ultimately made me quit. So you have to be smart and set your own goals. You don't want to, do something that you regret later, but so it's a lot to it.
Maggie, do you have any closing comments or closing questions for the group?
I think that was really good advice. Keeping the perspective that we have, it just like preset sleep wake cycles, and that those times are vulnerable. So to keep your mindset alert, engaged, but relaxed. Give yourself as many times to restart and refresh as you need. And I permanently have both Isaac's and Michael's voice in my head on runs since last year, and maybe for the end of time, of just calmly drink your water, keep your shoulders back, relax, and just keep it simple, and keep going. So I think that's what I needed to hear. And don't sit down.
Yeah, don't sit down on the course. Well, good luck this weekend, Maggie. We're super excited to see you absolutely crush it. We're all pulling for you to have an incredible performance, and we know you're going to. So go out there and get it done and win the thing.
Well, we will see. I have no set end. Thank you, guys.
Yep. Thanks for hopping out with us tonight. Awesome. Awesome. Maggie is hopping off, and we have our next person in the queue ready to go. So we will get them on the line as well. John, do we have them here? And if they are here, who are they and where are they calling from?
Hey guys, it's Brandon Smith from down here in Otway, Ohio. How are you doing tonight?
Hey, Brandon.
Looks everybody's enjoying themselves so far.
It's good to hear from you, man. How are you? How you feeling? Gearing up for another year at Ohio's Backyard Ultra? Ready to make another go at it?
Yeah, for sure, man. This is my fourth year. Just like every other year, though, I haven't really got to train like I'd want to, but that's okay. I try to rely more on grit than talent, so. But I'm looking forward to it.
And I just want to point out that Brandon is our resident local. There's lots of locals, but Brandon is really close to McChesney Ridge. His wife actually does some of the work there on the rental facilities, and Brandon does some of the stuff on the property. And so he's got some of the most knowledge of the course. He's able to train on it pretty regularly because it is open to some people to train on it there throughout the week. And so, Brandon, how's the course been looking to you the last couple of weeks?
It's been looking really good. I mean, we've had a lot of rain down here, so I mean, it's been a little bit, sloppy the past couple of weeks. But with this warmer weather and everything, hoping it dries up some. I know some of the new sections were a little bit kind of wet, but with all this warm weather, it should dry up. And I mean, as long as it's a little bit soft, I think that'll be a good thing, really. I guess it really just depends on how much rain, if we get it Friday, what that does to it and what challenges that arises from that. If there's any mud anywhere, that causes people to go out sooner than later. But the course is always good. A lot of work goes into it. Reese is always on it, working on it, modifying it, talking with you about it. And I'm out there whenever I can. Whenever I get off of work, I try to get out there and clean up the trail some, get rid of some roots and some branches and stuff like that. But
yeah, and we appreciate that you're able to. It's good to have some eyes on there year round, especially when Reese was living in Cincinnati. You were someone that was able to kind of keep an eye on the property as well. So thanks for that. And I just want to say that, this is your 4th year. You're one of the people that have ran every year and will run the 4th year. And you've gone from 66 miles. And I think what you did last year, you went 87, if I remember right. You have any, maybe not mileage goals, but any things that you would like to do this year?
I haven't really set too many mileage goals in the past. The first year, the most I'd ever ran was 15 miles when I signed up, and I ran 67. So, I was okay with that. The second year, I had some really bad IT band problems, and it shut me down to 50 miles. Last year was a good year. I felt really good. I think the night got to me, the cold, and then I made the mistake of coming back and crashing my chair for a minute, and it was over from there. But last year we had one goal really. I set up a fundraiser for St. Jude's. So that was really my goal, was just to use my own abilities in running and the ability to tolerate pain to raise some money for St. Jude's. And we had a $2,500 goal, and we absolutely crushed it. We raised over $3,000 before and during the event. So, and that's a big accomplishment, I think, in itself. And I just want to say thank you to everybody that donated, everybody that was part of that, because without everybody's kindness, that would have never happened. So that was a huge accomplishment last year. But this year, I'm definitely trying to break the 100-mile marker. That's a huge goal for me. Trying to break the mental barrier and just see where I can really push myself. I've kind of set a couple, standards for myself this year, and I really hope it works out. I want to say thank you to you, Michael, of course, because you've been there every year when I've been in my worst, crashed in my chair, and you've tried to get me to get up and get out there on the course. And, you've always believed in me, so I really do appreciate that. That means a lot coming from someone with your caliber of, running, and you've always, inspired me to push myself. So,
well, I remember that, Brandon, when I looked over there and I was like, you didn't look too hot and you looked like you were pretty relaxed in the chair. And I thought, I'm going to go talk to him real fast. But I try to do that with people if I catch their eye or something, and try to convince you to get back out there. And also, Brandon, we should all mention that you've only been running for a few years, and running ultras even shorter. But I think you also had a really good result back in October when you finished 5th place at the Shawnee 50, which is also a local race for you, but has a massive amount of vert for 50 miles. And that was like one of your only true ultra marathon races from a distance standpoint, and you seemed like you did really well. And so I think your training, even though you might not be happy with where it is, like you mentioned, your experience has improved over the years. And I think that is kind of what helps when people are looking at what they can do in the future. The experience aspect can be what gives you the ability to go further. So I think you've got it.
Yeah, definitely. That was an awesome event. I never expected to finish 5th in it, by any means. That was my, like you said, my longest ultra race format. Before that, as far as the race format, I think the most I'd ran is probably like a 10K or mental aspect of these things and, visualizing things. And for that was really key to me. The past year or two, my grandma hasn't been in the best health. So especially with the fifth Shawnee 50 miler, I just kind of visualized her out in front of me, especially at the top of the hills and everything like that, when I didn't think I could really push up those hills that hard. I just kept her face at the top of those hills. And I've done that last year at the Ultra too, the Backyard Ultra. So I think everybody could agree about, the mental aspect of these Backyard Ultras and being able to visualize something, whether that's to keep you occupied or motivated or whatever. But I think that's a huge part of it, and it's been a huge part for me. So I'm really looking forward to getting out there and, really grinding out some miles. And I told Holly to make sure no matter what, she kicks me out of the chair if I sit down. Don't let me sit down and relax for a second. Make sure I at least get back out there and cross the, corral line. And can't wait to jump on the George train there at night and log some miles with George and see Rob and everybody else. I think everybody looks forward to that, letting George become the dad and watch the time and tell you when you need to run and when you need to walk.
Nice.
Brandon, before we let you get out of here, I kind of want you to kind of give some pointers to maybe some people running their very first Backyard Ultra. You kind of touched on, the grit that you have and you kind of built up and developed over all of these races. Kind of what tips would you give someone running their first Backyard Ultra, or just is newer at the event?
It probably all comes down to, a lot of it comes down to the training, of course, trying things out ahead of time. Really, I think one of the biggest problems I see is like GI issues from people, and everybody's different. I'm fortunate. I've been able to drink anything I want to, except for a Snickers bar one year. But other than that, I never had GI issues. So definitely test out your foods and stuff before. Make sure you can actually consume them. One thing we always keep in our camp is gins, and I pass them out to everybody. If anybody's sick, having nausea, I always recommend those. And take it easy on the little bit of downhills. It seems like for me, that's one of my big downfalls is, since it's a kind of a 2-loop format, my knees take a beating on the downhills. It's one of my weak suits is downhill running. So really, I think practicing downhill running, having good form and just staying relaxed, I think it's one of the big things. Just enjoy it. You're gonna hurt. You're gonna feel pain. I've heard other people say, but pain is an attention whore. So if you don't pay attention to it, it doesn't bother you as bad. I've noticed that a lot. So the more attention you pay to that pain, the more it's gonna show up.
Are you gonna hike some of those downhills, Brandon? I know I've seen you do that in the past years a few times.
It just depends. There was one year where I was having some knee problems, and I hiked them a little bit, and I even done some backwards. I guess that's another, pointer there. If you start having some knee problems and stuff like that, don't be afraid to do things backwards. Last year I spent a majority of my training running backwards through the Shawnee Forest on the roads, just because it takes so much pressure off of your knees, so you can get around a lot of that by thinking outside the box a little bit. You don't have to run, everything. It's not a race. It's just mitigating the pain, finding solutions to the problem. It's really just a big, problem solving event, really.
Definitely.
I've definitely walked backwards down some hills. I remember particularly in the North Face 50 in California, some of those 1,000-foot hills just ate up and caught up to me. So I've walked a couple of those backwards myself.
I walked a lot of downhills for Burning River when I did the 50. I did something with my knee, and I had to pretty much sidestep and backwards walk every single hill down for 18 miles to the finish. So know that feeling.
It's all about getting it done.
I got a couple quick questions if you got time, just real quick.
Yeah,
let's do it.
I see some gear there, Michael. Is that the new shirt we get forward to looking to?
Yeah, this is this year's shirt. It's a different design this year, actually. So we've had the same design on different color shirts, but you know, like I don't know what the technical color is, but it's a light blue and it's more of a round logo with the same big block leathers. Ohio's Backyard Ultra, and the person that helped design this, our thoughts was that the circle kind of means infinity, which plays into the idea of going forever. So kind of a change of pace this year, but that's what runners can look forward to in their packet.
Yeah, definitely. I always loved the shirts. Always loved the collars, and the first shirt was my favorite, but that one there is looking pretty sweet too. So
yeah, I think Wesley has that first year shirt on, and yeah, I'm pretty bummed because mine shrunk somehow, and I do not have I did not have the first year shirt. But if anybody can send me a large OBU shirt from 2000 and 2019, I'll like maybe give them something else. Yeah,
5 more shirts coming at you.
Right. Okay.
And Wesley, how many miles am I going to have to run this year to make next year's prediction list?
That's a tough question. I mean, it's a good field, you know, and I like, you know, Nick and I were talking offline and we mentioned that earlier. You know, we think there's 22 contenders at the race this year that, you know, could legitimately win the race. And so, you know, I think we're doing a top 10 prediction for this year's race, and then we'll kind of highlight some other names as well to look out for. But yeah, dude, if you're in the top, if you're in the mix, you'll definitely be in it. And who knows, you're not in the prediction video this year. You never know.
Well, I think the better question is like, can you just do a top 50 projection video? There you go. You're in the video, baby.
I'll just predict the whole race. It'll be a 6-hour video.
You should do that, Wesley.
Go for a couple sunsets. You know, then you should be okay.
Well, Michael, thank you for all the hard work you put in, man. I told you that before. I really appreciate it. I see a lot of the work you put in. I know you don't get a lot of sleep. You sink a lot of time and energy into these events, and they're always, you know, amazing events. I don't run a whole lot of other events outside of yours, but I, you know, suspect these are some of the better events you could sign up for if you wanted to. So really do appreciate all the hard work you put in and everything.
Well, I appreciate you, Brandon, and I'm sure I'll see you here the next couple of days when I'm down there setting up.
Yes, sir. We'll see a lot of each other.
All righty now. Have a good night, Brandon.
You too. You guys take it easy. Thanks.
Awesome. I love hearing that.
Yeah, no, it's always cool to hear from Brandon and, you know, especially a 4-time participant hopping on the line with us tonight for Voss Talks. We did officially PR tonight in Voss Talks for the longest episode of Voss Talks that we've ever had so far. I think that we're going to kind of wrap it up maybe with some closing thoughts around the room. It doesn't have to be super long, but I think we should kind of touch on everyone. John, let's throw it over to you and hear what you're going to have to say.
Throwing it to me first. What do you want me to say for my closing thoughts here?
I just wanted to put the pressure on you.
Put the pressure on me. You didn't even ask me. Anyways, so like I was saying earlier, I'm super excited to be back down at OBU this year. I have not been able to make it the past couple of years due to work and everything like that. So super excited to be down there. I'm running a race Saturday morning, so I'm not going to be able to be there right off the bat. But Sunday morning, I'll be there. I'll be there to the finish. I've got off work. I told my boss I'm not coming back till this race is done. So hopefully it doesn't go to Tuesday. It's more vacation time. But if it does, I'll be there posting some social media updates for Ridge Runners. So make sure you follow along, and I'll get that content out to you all. That's pretty much my thoughts. I'm excited.
Nick, the man running the race.
Yeah, I'm just excited to get down there and see everybody again. Kind of special shout out to some people I'm ready and excited to run with. Excited to run with Andrew Waugh and Mike Rowe again, some veterans of the race, and just and also shout out to my fellow Colorado participants, Mary Kitzig and new participant Don. He's going to be down running for the first time, so excited to get some more Colorado peeps out there. And then shout out to first time ever having a dedicated crew member. So Claire's thankfully dedicated her weekend helping me out down there too. So just really looking forward to it.
And Claire has some experience crewing Backyard Ultras because she was with Jen last year for her 54 hours. So you're in good hands there, Nick.
Yeah, if I don't make it, whenever I stop, it won't be because of her. It'll be because of me.
Well, we all knew that.
Only if she was at Run Rabbit Run, right, Nick?
I don't know if that would have helped.
Grindstone.
No, he's good.
Burning
all right,
maybe.
What is going on, Michael? Your thoughts? Race director, Ohio's Backyard Ultra. What are you looking for?
I'm looking forward to everything from tomorrow when I'm loading up the trailer all the way until Tuesday when I'm packing the trailer down. Looking forward to that whole entire week. It's a big week, and there's a lot of excitement in the middle grounds. But 2:00 rolls around on Friday. That's when the mad rush of people come in, and that's when it kind of gets real in terms of catering to the participants and to my friends. And so, it's every year it's like a mystery. Okay, how long is it going to go? I don't know if we ever thought it was going to go 55 miles last year, but now there's a little bit of, not, I don't want to say expectation, but a little bit of knowledge of what's potential, of what's possible. But yeah, I'm mainly looking forward to meeting everybody again, seeing everybody, meeting new people. I really do think this is a family, and reverberate Reese's thoughts on the OBU family, right? I feel the same way as he does. I really don't have any one specific thing I'm looking forward to, but just the whole experience.
It's going to be a heck of a weekend down at the McChesney Ridge Athletic Club, as it always is this time of year. Michael, we just want to say thank you for hopping on Voss Talks with us tonight and taking all the callers and kind of giving your insights from a race director's point of view as well. Do you have any sponsors or thank yous or additional things you want to touch on now before we wrap up?
Well, no, just thanks to Ridge Runners too for being a voice in the crowd. In the growing media landscape of ultra running, it's great to have some media focusing on the races over here on this side of the United States. And what you guys are doing is highlighting the individuals and the stories and the races that are take place east of the Mississippi. And I'm really glad that there's something like that out there. So thank you guys for being part of it and for being willing to showcase not just my races, but all the races that are doing something special here east of the Mississippi. Would love to have you guys back on the East Coast, you guys that live in Montana and Colorado. But I'm glad you guys are still doing it. So thank you.
Definitely. No, we're thrilled to be doing it, and we're pumped to showcase races like yours in special events. Like this weekend. So that's all we got for this week, this episode of Voss Talks, and this week's episode.
Wait. Do you have anything to open, Wesley? You got a package?
So actually, I don't. I can run and grab it, but it's in the kitchen. I did forget. I'll be right back.
So I sent Wesley a package. It's thought. Oh. What's he doing there, Cam? Walk us through the Wesley walk right now. Has he got a long hallway to go down, or?
He does not. Our apartment is not particularly large, but I do think it was funny to see him kind of scamper. Is the word that I would use to describe the way he's moving.
And he's got his running shorts on, as do I. So he's ready for that moment of boom, he's out the door. Well, that was 15 seconds. That was rough.
He's 100% going for a run right after this.
He already did.
Monday Mile.
Yeah.
It already happened. Mm-hmm. Check the Strava.
And Pete the cotton socks, which I should know from experience, are not to be left on our counter. Right, Wesley?
They're there now, so they'll be waiting for you tomorrow. when you return. So we got this package, Cam. It was from Michael Owen, and I really don't know what it is. It's been here since you left, literally the day after Cam took his vacation. So I'm gonna open it live on the show, and we'll see what we got here. Oh boy, here we go. So if you haven't paid attention on Ridge Runners, I've been doing a Monday mile, and this is what it says here. Oh boy.
Yeah, I was gonna say, did we notice that it said moo?
Yeah. So much for that cow costume that you had. Unbelievable. Well, it looks like I'm going to be running a Monday mile in the cow costume, and that video will be going live on Wednesday this week, as well as the prediction video. Cam, we're going to film that tomorrow night because we was kind of hoping there'd be a fun little Monday mile package.
You could run it on Monday while OBU's still going on.
It's true.
You should. I was gonna say you told us we're gonna film it tomorrow, but it's 8:14 here, and I'm not making it to Missoula on Monday.
No, that's what I mean. Like, well, it'll be filmed on Tuesday. I've already,
it's a movie magic. Stop.
It's movie magic. I'm not a video guy. Like, I can't. I'm not here for this inauthenticity. A Monday mile's got to happen on Monday.
It did happen on Monday. I read it. Check Strava.
Not in the cow costume.
You never know.
Man, we're getting some behind-the-scenes looks here with the video production team.
Yeah, you really don't want to see what's behind the curtain with the Ridge Runners team, but no, for real. Thank you guys for tuning in tonight. This is one of our favorite shows. I know at least it was for me. So it was awesome to kind of hear all of this people calling in, but I'm also looking forward to hearing all the stories from this upcoming weekend. And I know it's going to be a super special event. So everyone go out there, have fun, crush it. It's going to be a good time. We'll see you guys on the other side. Thanks for joining us tonight. We'll see you guys next week.
Cam, add me on Strava.